Hey guys, it's Scott with Scotty B Cards, and in this video I have some PSA news. So this news, I just want to break it down with you guys and discuss what's happened and why it's important for you and me as collectors and investors of sports cards. So the first thing is Nat Turner had an interview with Card Talk Podcast where he discussed anything and everything about PSA and what their plans are for the future. A lot of really good information was discussed in this podcast. I'm only going to give some of the highlights I thought were interesting and then discuss why those are important for the hobby. And then on top of that, Nat also made some comments on Instagram about the plans for PSA that you will want to hear. So the first thing is PSA is currently up to 40,000 cards graded per day, which is really, really impressive. It's still not high enough to where they need it to be. You know, when they closed PSA back in March, they were receiving about 100,000 cards each and every day. So they need to get that number a little bit higher in order to make it worthwhile to have bulk back open at the same price again. Nat also talked about how right now they're actually expanding their business like crazy and hiring like crazy, which makes it so each and every single week they're able to get more and more cards out the door, which is only going to help them get to the point where they want to be. He also discussed how at the end of next year he's hoping to have all service levels open, so basically you can submit bulk, and he's wanting to be around the same price of $10 for bulk, just like it was in the past. He also said if they can continue to keep hiring at this pace and training well enough where it's going to be consistent grading, that they're going to have that same pricing, which is really important for me and you because sometimes it's not worth grading a lot of cards when you have to pay $100 for each and every card. You know, a lot of people like to think that base cards shouldn't be graded, and I get the arguments. I'm not saying that it's a cut and dry case, but I still think that they're a card grading company. So if somebody wants a card graded, they can pay to get it graded. And PSA knows that, and that's going to be huge incentive and motivation to get their grading low enough or they can capture as many of those cards that are being encapsulated with all the grading companies with their label, which is great marketing, and it's a great way to show their market share to the competition and to everybody else who's collecting sports cards. So this is big news simply because I did not believe this was going to happen. I originally thought that there was no way PSA would ever get their pricing back down to where it was before the 2020 sports card boom, and the fact that they're really trying to do it, I think is really good news for collectors. The next thing that I do want to discuss is on Instagram, Nat was actually responding to somebody else who was making a comment about something. He was basically saying that he didn't care that PSA is now returning cards in sleeves, which I think is actually really cool as well, that they're putting their cases in sleeves so they don't get scratched. But he was like, I just want to know when services will be back open. And Nat replied that they're going to be opening regular service in 2 weeks. So that's a really big deal because that just means that we're going to have cheaper card options available to us. Right now we can pay $150 or $300 to get our cards graded by PSA, but if they're able to get that price down to $50 to $70 for regular service and open that up soon, I think that will really, really put a lot of pressure on their competition. SGC has gained a ton of the market share since BGS and PSA have closed, and it'll be extremely interesting to see how they respond to this. Do they lower their prices since they're going to have less demand? Do they keep it the same and just are happy with the increase, love and respect they've gotten? Like, what are they going to respond with while PSA is doing this? But this is just a one step in the right direction and showing that they're actually working on things to get back to where they need to be. I don't want to praise PSA too much just because they were the ones who had to close down in the first place due to demand and growth issues, but it's nice to see them actually taking that step to be better. Beckett Grading Services, on the other hand, BGS, who I personally like the best for my own PC, not for value necessarily, but BGS has not really shown anything. Cards are still out that are really far out, their pricing's still expensive, and on top of that, they don't really publicly show their plans. I think collectors in this hobby are much more understanding if we can just convey the message to them that, you know what, we're working on it, this is exactly what's happening internally. SGC and PSA both do a fantastic job of that. But I do think SGC, HGA, who else is there, CSG, ISA, all these different FCG might be in a little bit of trouble if PSA really can get their pricing back down to $10 a card by next year, because I know a lot of these other grading companies, they'll have to scale as well, and they're not even close to that same capacity and ability. So like I've already said, I don't see really any downside in this happening. I think it's a good thing PSA is being public and also getting back to where they need to be in order to grade cards again on a normal basis and not just have a huge backlog. It'll be interesting to see what people do when we start seeing right now, I think Zion Williamson's PSA 10 Prism Rookie just hit 20,000 PSA 10s, around 38,000 total graded. That's going to continue, and that's okay. It will show us, the consumers, how rare an actual card is, and I'm okay with that. I'm glad about that. It'll help us focus on the right things. So anyways, guys, that is all I have for this video. Thank you for watching. Let me know down in the comments below if you like this move by PSA, if you find either this surprising, if you're excited about it, whatever else you think. Other than that, I'll catch you in the next video.